Is there any validity to Lycan's statements? Why aren't there lengthy papers from established historians dismantling Finkelstein's arguments, such sources used in the book, since he's clearly the most popular historian on the topic? That's a good question. So this is going to be the most arrogant thing I've ever said. My hope is that here's my hope. I've got two grand designs. Okay, ready? Two big grand designs. All right. One is that I hope that this is like the best debate that has happened to date on the Israeli-Palestinian thing. Benny Morris is he's one of the preeminent Israeli historians. Finkelstein is at least one of the most popular historians. Hopefully I can contribute. This other guy, it seems, I mean, he's got like education on this topic, so he'll contribute. And this will be like literally a fucking 4 to 6 hour conversation, okay? Like 5+ hours of this. So I hope this is like a definitive, like, here is the current debate on this thing with sources, with knowledge, with context, with everything else. Number one. Number two, okay, I want people afterwards to see that Finkelstein is a hack, okay? But that can only be done by going through his book and his sources, which we'll do next. We're almost done with this book, okay? You're gonna bring quotes in real life? Yes. One thing I'm excited about this iPad is I think I can use this iPad for notes and stuff, and it's like way easier, and it doesn't look as cringe like to have my phone out. If I have a whole iPad, it looks more, yeah. Why even think that this debate is going to be good when we all know that whenever you corner him in a particular argument, Finkelstein is just going to move the goalpost to does body count matter? Because this will be the debate I've prepared for the most in literally my entire life. And I have probably a more comprehensive understanding of this particular thing than I have literally for anything else I've ever read. I don't know. We'll see. Who knows? Hopefully I just have to prepare my strategies and all that. Oh, does body count matter? Oh, I'm sorry. I just understood it was a joke. I thought that I thought you meant like the casualty rate, like in the Palestinians, like the body count, the death count. I just fucking my brain just short circuited on that. Would you say your mindset has changed, or that you have more confidence going into debates with the research? I feel like I want to show the world he's a hack is a new mentality for you as a result of your power level increasing. No, here's my issue with this. That one, my friend Lycan is currently lost down this Finkelstein hole, and I have to save him. Okay, that's one part. My second part is I'm irritated that I truly do feel like this might be, maybe my assumption is wrong, but at least in pop culture, I really truly do feel like Finkelstein is the most popular author on this conflict. I see his shadow behind almost every single pro-Palestinian person I've debated. So many claims, so many arguments that he's made in his books are offered by almost every other person that I've debated so far. I feel like he must be one of the most read authors on this. Not as much as any of the actual historians, but because he does pop history and his writing is incredibly provocative. You'll see when I start to read Inquest into Martyrdom. Can I get some sample pages compared to what I've read here, right? You've listened to me read this, Inquest into its Martyrdom. Can I get some sample pages on this? The writing for this is so much more provocative. It's insane. In September 2000, amid the diplomatic stalemate and after Israeli provocation, Palestinians in the occupied territories once again entered into open revolt. Like its 1987 precursor, the Second Intifada was at its inception overwhelmingly nonviolent. However, in Ben Ami's words, Israel's disproportionate response to what had started as a popular uprising, with young unarmed men confronting Israeli soldiers armed with lethal weapons, fueled the Second Intifada beyond control and turned it into an all-out war. It is forgotten that the first deadly Hamas suicide bombing of the Second Intifada did not occur until 5 months into Israel's relentless bloodletting. Israeli forces had fired 1 million rounds of ammunition in just the first few days of the uprising, while the ratio of Palestinians to Israelis killed during the first weeks was 20 to 1. In the course of the spiraling violence triggered by its disproportionate response, Israel struck Gaza with special vengeance. In a cruel reworking of Ecclesiastes, I don't know. Each turn of season presaged yet another Israeli attack on Gaza that left scores dead and fragile infrastructure destroyed. Operation Rainbow, Operation Days of Penitence, Operation Summer Rains, Operation Autumn Clouds, Operation Hot Winter. In the warped memory of Israeli President and Nobel Peace Prize laureate Shimon Peres, however, this period was another mistake. We restrained ourselves for 8 years and allowed Gazans to shoot thousands of rockets at us. Restraint was a mistake. Despite continual Israeli assaults, Gaza continued to roil. Already at the time of the Oslo Accords, its intractability caused Israel to sour on the Strip. If only it would just sink into the sea, Rabin despaired. In April of 2004, President Minister Sharon announced that Israel would disengage from Gaza, and by September of 2005, both Israeli troops and Jewish settlers had been pulled out. Dov Weisglass, a key advisor to Sharon, laid out the rationale behind the disengagement. It would relieve international, in particular American, pressure on Israel, in turn freezing the political process. And when you freeze that process, you prevent the establishment of a Palestinian state. Israel subsequently purported that it was no longer the occupying power in Gaza. However, but this is what I mean, right? Like, this book is, it reads like pop history, basically, yeah. Yeah. And it's very annoying now, like, I also can see the way that he cites quotes now that I'm familiar with the underlying material too, some of it at least. In Ben-Ami's own words, Israel's disproportionate response to what had started as a popular uprising, with young, unarmed men confronting Israeli soldiers armed with lethal weapons, fueled the Second Intifada beyond control and turned it into an all-out war. Like, quoting Ben-Ami here as though he's only saying it was Israel's disproportionate response that had started it. It was only Israel that was doing this. It's very, very, very annoying. Ben-Ami wrote this book so well to be, I don't know, I'm shaking my iPad, it's not the book, to be utilized by propagandists, because he writes very meticulously, and he's like, here's what Israel did that was bad. Here's what Palestine did that was bad. Here's what the international community did that was bad. Next chapter. Here's what Israel did that was bad. Here's what Palestine did that was bad. Here's what the international community did that was bad. Next chapter. And he does it over and over again. People like Finkelstein just quote the sections of Israel bad. That's it. And it's so frustrating to read the way that he cites Ben-Ami, at least in this book, and probably with all the underlying stuff too. But we'll get there. Okay, don't care. So we just summarized your primary issues with Finkelstein into bullet points. What would they be? One of them seems like quote sniping. Well, I just think his scholarship is very bad. No, sorry. I think his scholarship is counterfeit or disingenuous, at least from the little bit I've seen so far. It could be that I just happen to be stumbling onto things that I feel is very one-sided, and maybe other scholarship is good, but it feels as though he is engaging in academic fraud? I don't know how you would say it. Like, the underlying material just doesn't tend to support his opinions, and he's very selective about what he quotes. It's very, very, very frustrating. Okay, did I have any disagreeers? It's so funny, the cultural changes. If you're a Zoomer, you're not going to get this. Good, this man shouldn't be near a school zone. Principal with drag queen side gig resigns under pressure from Oklahoma schools official. I'm trying to think did I just live like in an exceptionally weird... I was in Omaha, Nebraska. I feel like drag was kind of like a funny meme thing, and like some people did it, but it wasn't like a huge deal ever. But maybe that's just because I feel like I had a lot of friends that were girls at like Rocky Horror Picture Show and shit, and it was just like kind of like some meme funny shit. But I don't ever feel like it was this huge fucking thing, like that people would freak the fuck out over. But then my first wife also listened to Eddie Izzard and shit, so who knows? Who maybe actually, didn't he go on to be trans? I don't know. It was like really fun, especially in the UK.